So then, updating my best possible series. I am so happy. I've been itching to do this video for a very long time. So yeah, I'm going to be seeing what episodes from Series 8 and Last Christmas will be making it into the best possible series. Now, of course, for anybody who is new to the channel, this is a series I did last year. And if you don't want to know what my current best possible series is and you don't want it spoilt for you, then go and watch that series. There is a playlist. But if you're not bothered, then I'll be showing you my current best possible series any moment now. But it was basically a 15-episode series I did last year, where I went through all the episode 1s, all the series openers, picked my favourite, all the episode 2s, picked my favourite, until I've constructed literally my best possible series out of Series 1 to Series 7. But of course, we had the brilliant Series 8. So now we're going to be seeing what episodes from Series 8 have made it into the best possible series, and if there are just any changes in general. So this is what my current best possible series looks like. So as you can see, episode 1, Rose, we've got the Fires of Pompeii, School Reunion, The Doctor's Wife, The Angels Take Manhattan, Dalek, A Good Man Goes to War, Father's Day, Forest of the Dead, Blink, Turn Left, The Stolen Earth, The Name of the Doctor, The Christmas Invasion, and The Day of the Doctor. There have been quite a few changes, so without any further ado, let's start with the first episode, of course. So, the first episode that I had was Rose. Partly, I'd say, because it was between Rose or the 11th Hour, and I chose Rose just because I think it meant more to me. It was the first episode I ever watched. It was the one that kind of made me a Whovian. So yeah, I put that in there because it kind of had more value to me. But of course, we then had Deep Breath, which was a fantastic series opener to Series 8. It dealt with post-regeneration brilliantly. And it was just a great episode in general anyway, and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, Deep Breath is taking the place of Rose. Rose is no longer my favourite episode 1. That is now going to Deep Breath. So next up, my favourite episode 2 was The Fires of Pompeii, which was a great episode because I think it dealt with time travel very well. Of course, we went back to a very massive historical event, and we got to see a burden of a Time Lord, really, how the Doctor cannot affect human history, which it had Peter Capaldi in it, which is quite ironic, but yeah, it was my favourite episode too. Will Into the Dalek replace it? No, of course it won't. If anyone knows my opinions on Into the Dalek, it wasn't bad, but it is not got a scratch on The Fires of Pompeii, so that will remain at number 2. At episode 3, we had School Reunion. A fantastic episode again, one I always enjoy going back to watch. Of course, with the return of the brilliant Sarah Jane Smith, the Krillin were fantastic. And Anthony Head, I think, is probably one of the best cast villains we've had in Doctor Who. I think he's a brilliant actor. And of course, competing with that is Robot of Sherwood. I loved Robot of Sherwood to begin with, but the more I've watched it, the more I've grew to see how ridiculous the ending is. Now, it's an episode you can sit down and watch on a Sunday afternoon and enjoy. But yeah, if you watch the ending with the golden arrow, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and there are so many lazy shortcuts that Gatiss made in that episode. As a story, it's very weak. So School Reunion will remain at number 3. And now at number 4, I had The Doctor's Wife, and it's a good episode, but it's incredibly overrated, and it's not bad, and there are episodes that are a million times worse, but when people say it's one of the best ever and put it in a league with some of the greatest episodes ever, then that's kind of ridiculous. So it's a good episode, but Listen takes that place by quite a bit. A lot of the episode 4s, I think, are okay, but it's kind of the weakest, I think, one of the weakest out of all the episodes, so Listen definitely takes its place. Listen went in the other direction. I started off not liking it, and if you go back and watch our review of it, don't take anything I said seriously, because I grew to really love Listen. I really do love it. I think I understand now how Moffat deliberately left it open to our own imagination if there was a monster or not, so I find that quite clever. And the ending with the War Doctor is beautiful. Although it made Clara overpowered, I still enjoy Listening. I think it's a great episode, so that will be taking The Doctor's Wife's place, because I don't really see why I put it there in the first place. But anyway, on to episode 5, we had The Angels Take Manhattan, an episode that I see a lot of plot holes in, but it's one of the few episodes I can look past the plot holes, because I just enjoy it that much. I love the Weeping Angels, I love the setting, and the Pond's departure was written well, and it was very heartbreaking. And of course, competing with that is Time Heist. And I think you all know that I'm not a fan of Time Heist. I think it's a episode I find hard to follow, find quite difficult to watch, and yeah, I really loved the teller. That was the only positive part about it. And they even ruined that at the end with the teller romantically walking off literally into the sunset with another teller. So yeah, Time Heist will not be taking any position in the best possible series, so The Angels Take Manhattan will remain at episode 5. On to episode 6 now. We have Dalek, which is currently in episode 6's place. And of course, Dalek is my favourite Dalek episode of Modern Who by a landslide. It's just brilliant, and it makes the Dalek seem so evil and ruthless and merciless. I absolutely adore it. And competing with that is The Caretaker, which is a brilliant episode. I absolutely love The Caretaker. Going through Coal Hill, absolutely fantastic. The Doctor was amazing in it. He was so alien, and I think it developed the story arc of the series along very well. But The Caretaker is just not good enough to take the place of Dalek, and I don't think any episode 6 ever will be. So Dalek keeps its place at episode 6. Now, episode 7 is one of 2 episodes I struggled with. I really did, because I had A Good Man Goes to War, episode 7, which I loved. I think A Good Man Goes to War is one of my favourite episodes of Series 6. Well, it is my favourite episode of Series 6 because it developed the story arc, and it's the only one that I think complemented the story arc. Some great characters in there. The Doctor was brilliant in there as well, and I was stuck between A Good Man Goes to War and Kill the Moon, because I love Kill the Moon so much. We got to see how dark the Doctor was in it, and it was the episode I'd been waiting for throughout Series 8, and I kept swapping between the two. I even asked the Hermits, and I decided that Kill the Moon is going to take the place of A Good Man Goes to War, only just though, by the smallest of margins. So at episode 7 is not A Good Man Goes to War, is Kill the Moon. Episode 8, we originally had Father's Day, and this was one that I changed my mind on originally a lot because I love Father's Day. It's a great episode, one that I never bothered to rewatch for years and years and years, and I went back to rewatch it, and I absolutely loved it. And I just think it was such a human story. I think seeing Rose go back to seeing her deceased father and wanting to change time travel, it's a position that we can all relate to, because let's be honest, if we all went back in time, one of the first things we'd want to do is, go back and see a loved one and kind of make them live again. So I love Father's Day. It's a very heartbreaking, very human story. But competing with that is Mummy on the Orient Express, which is just unbelievable. I love it. It's probably coming close to probably one of my, Deep Breath was my favourite of Series 8. Mummy on the Orient Express is creeping up on it. It's just such a great story. Everything about it is brilliant. The cast, the side characters is probably the best of the series. The Doctor was great in it. Clara was even okay in it, although she kind of shouldn't have been there in the first place. The only issue I do have is the very, very, very ending, where she suddenly has a wobble, which she's had one too many times already. So yeah, Father's Day and Mummy, very difficult choice, but I am going to put Mummy on the Orient Express into episode 8, which means we've already had 4 Series 8 episodes take the place in the best possible series. So yeah, you can tell that it's going to be quite Series 8 heavy. Moving on to episode 9, I had Forest of the Dead, which, of course, it's a bit awkward because it's only one half of a 2-parter. But yeah, it's my favourite episode 9. Very tough, this one, because in the Russell era especially, episode 9 was always either the start of a 2-parter or the end of one. I'm sure Family of Blood was a episode 9. The Empty Child was another one. So yeah, episode 9, unbelievably tough. And this was another one I struggled with, not because I was going to swap it with Flatline. Now, Flatline didn't even come into question for this. I love Flatline, but I don't think I like it as much as other people do. It's a good story and everything. But I was actually stuck between changing Forest of the Dead with the Satan Pit. It's one of the very few which I was going to change with a episode that wasn't actually in Series 8. But after deeply thinking between a Satan Pit, which is a great episode, a very claustrophobic episode, of course, with the Ood being possessed, and Forest of the Dead, I stuck with Forest of the Dead. I just think the Vashta Nerada, another brilliant monster, a great conclusion to probably my favourite 2-parter in Modern Who. So yeah, Forest of the Dead keeps its place in episode 9. Moving on to episode 10, we had Blink, and yeah, there's not going to be any change. I mean, come on. Blink, it's a great episode. It's got the Weeping Angels. It's one of the creepiest episodes ever. Does anyone really think In the Forest of the Night was going to compete with Blink? No, Blink is obviously going to keep episode 10. Episode 11, another tough one. I had Turn Left. Seeing a universe without the Doctor. It's unique, and it's one of them episodes that will never ever be done again. And competing with that was Dark Water. And it feels weird because we normally have 13 episodes in a series, and episode 12 and 13 are usually the finales. But this time we can actually have a finale in episode 11, which was Dark Water. And I love Turn Left, but I've put Dark Water in episode 11. I just think it kicked off the Series 8 finale in a great way. I think the Cybermen, although predictable, they were brilliant in it, and the build-up to their reveal was very... it was loads of anticipation, very suspensive, and they dealt with the reveal of Missy being the Master very well as well, because that caught us all by surprise. So Dark Water, fantastic first part of a finale, and I think it is worthy of just being in episode 11, I think, only just. Episode 12, of course, I had The Stolen Earth originally, so much better than Journey's End by a country mile. I just think the screen time balance between all of the companions was great, and for any modern fan, it is the ultimate nostalgic episode. And competing with Stolen Earth is Death in Heaven. And Death in Heaven, again, like Dark Water, into the great episode. But I've decided to stick with The Stolen Earth and not put Death in Heaven in there. And I don't quite know why. I mean, I really love Stolen Earth, and it's nothing against Death in Heaven. It's a great episode and everything. But I just think maybe the Missy was just, Missy wasn't in it as much as I wanted her to be. She didn't make as much of an impact. Her motives were quite pointless and didn't make too much sense. And I've grew to not really like the ending with the Brigadier as much, because I'd prefer to remember him as the Brig instead of a Cyberman. So yeah, Death in Heaven might have been up there apart from a few things here and there, but episode 12 remains to be The Stolen Earth. Episode 13, I can't really say anything about this because Series 8 didn't have an episode 13. So yeah, my original episode 13 was The Name of the Doctor, and of course it remains to be The Name of the Doctor. I did consider changing it because a few months back I thought The Name of the Doctor was all hype, but yeah, I rewatched it recently, and I actually still really enjoy it. I absolutely love The Name of the Doctor, so it will remain to be episode 13. Episode 14, of course, is the Christmas specials, and I originally had the Christmas Invasion, and all I'm saying is it's no longer the Christmas Invasion. My favourite Christmas special is not that anymore. You may all be thinking, oh my god, Last Christmas? No, Last Christmas is not. It's still not my favourite Christmas special either, because I've actually changed it to Voyage of the Damned. Yes, a Christmas special I rewatched recently and absolutely freaking loved. People criticise it because there's too much death, but I really like Voyage of the Damned. I think the setting of the Titanic was great. Probably some of the best side characters we've ever had in Doctor Who, and I think it had some great stand-up moments. So Voyage of the Damned will take the place of my favourite Christmas special. And finally, episode 15 is just for the specials, and we've not had any special episodes in 2014, so it will remain to be The Day of the Doctor, although I really did consider Waters of Mars to take that position, but it's The Day of the Doctor. I just love it so goddamn much. So yeah, that is it, guys. My updated best possible series, so quickly rerunning through it. Deep Breath, Fires of Pompeii, School Reunion, Listen, Angels Take Manhattan, Dalek, Kill the Moon, Mummy on the Orient Express, Forest of the Dead, Blink, Dark Water, Stolen Earth, Name of the Doctor, Voyage of the Damned, and Day of the Doctor. Quite a few changes in there, and I believe there is 5 episodes of Series 8 that have joined, so yeah, that shows you how much I have loved Series 8. So that is it, guys. Of course, there isn't an outro, so I might as well just say don't forget to like this video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel, and please do comment below your updated best possible series. It'll be interesting to see what episodes from Series 8 you would include in your updated version, and I'll try and answer them in the next few days. I'll be back next week with my updated version of my worst possible series, which is definitely going to be very interesting, and I'm just going to give you a quick spoiler. There are some Series 8 episodes in my worst possible series. Yeah. Until then, have a good weekend, and I'll see you all next week.